Hillside of a mountain, always looking up towards the sky. Reminds me of my papa and my mom, who lived there 80 years before they died. Now a bright moon is shining in the valley. That old wagon leans against a stack of hay. Two graves on the hillside by the cabin. My mom and dad are resting there today. The burning of the green wood on the fireplace, falling snow around the redbud trees, the branches of the laurel by the creek bed, and the rippling waters of a gentle stream. Now a bright moon is shining in the valley. That old wagon leans against a stack of hay. Two graves on the hillside by the cabin. My mom and dad are resting there today. Used to talk of the young days when he and Mama first settled there. He spoke of the love of the mountains that he and Mama shared together there. Now a bright moon is shining in the valley. That old wagon leans against a stack of hay. Two graves on the hillside by the cabin. My mom and dad are resting there today. Now a bright moon is shining in the valley. That old wagon leans against a stack of hay. Two graves on the hillside by the cabin. My mom and dad are resting there today. Yes, my mom and dad are resting there today.
All right, welcome back, and we are delighted to welcome a special guest to the Steel and Fiddle Show, and we just heard one of the songs from his 2016 album, Home Far Away, and that was Love of the Mountains, and that was Joseph Hott and the Short Mountain Boys. And welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure being here with you all this evening.
It's my pleasure. All right, so Joe's going to tell us a little bit about himself. Now, he comes from a background of music, and the music you're going to hear tonight is traditional country, bluegrass, and a little bit of gospel sprinkled in, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. So, Joe, why don't you start out by just giving everybody a brief introduction about yourself?
All right. Well, I'm 21 years old. Born and raised in West Virginia, up around the Eastern Panhandle, and I've been listening and playing along to this old-time mountain music for as long as I can remember, and it's such an honor to be recording and playing it and sharing it with the rest of the world. And I hope to be able to continue to do this for many, many more years.
Well, based on the music that I've heard so far, I hope you're able to do this for many, many years as well. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about where you came from as far as the music is concerned. So I always like to know, when did you first get interested in music?
I got interested at a fairly early age. I started around about 13 or 14. There was a gentleman at our church that played and sang, so I was just getting started. So I went up and asked him if he would kind of help me hone in on my skills a little bit and try to learn from him. And of course, with a lot of persuasion, several months later, he finally got me up to do a song with him there in church service. So that continued on, and then eventually he started persuading me to start singing, which I never knew I had that ability to do so until after he really got me started doing that as well. But I'm very glad that our paths met like that, and I'm very glad that he took the time to help me and to show me that, because there's not a day that goes by that I don't use it.
All right, that's great. Now, again, you're from West Virginia, so the type of music that you're playing now is pretty much available around there. And as you know, I'm in the northeastern part of the country, and there's not a lot of traditional country music being played here. Most of the stuff they play around here is what they're calling country music, but as far as I'm concerned, it is not. But how did you get interested, and when did you get interested in the bluegrass and the traditional country and the gospel music?
I was really surrounded by it my whole life. When I was about 5 years old, the Lewis family came to my hometown at the fairgrounds and did a show there. And of course, that was my very first one that I had ever attended. And they was doing a mix, kind of like I do, between bluegrass, gospel, and a little bit of classic country in there too. So that kind of sparked the interest from there. And of course, it just, it took off from there. That's all that I really wanted to listen to and to reproduce from that point on.
And what about and here's another question I'm going to throw at you. And folks, just so you know, that we do a pre-interview before we go on air, just so I don't throw questions at the guys that they don't know coming. But here's one that's not coming. Your peers, your friends, and things like that. What kind of music are they listening to?
It's a mixture. Some of them will share the same music that I do. The other side don't, but they're also very supportive, and I've even heard compliments of, I've never liked that music, but I like what you're doing.
Okay.
So it's fairly balanced.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Okay. What about and another thing with people with musical talent and musicians, a lot of times they come from backgrounds where there was music in the family. So, they pick it up. Now, have you had any family members on your side that have been musicians that might have, kind of had an influence on you?
My two uncles did. They played classic country back in the 70s and 80s. Their names was John and Larry Hott. And they were fairly big around this area, and of course I remember going out every weekend and listening to them play all over. But as far as bluegrass goes, one of my family members, Delmar Delaney, started a bluegrass band, I want to say back in the 50s, and they were called the Windy Mountain Boys. And so I never actually got to see them live or hear them, but I've heard their records and things. And so I guess that's kind of where my blend of country and bluegrass come together. So the roots, as far as that, runs pretty deep.
Okay, well, that's great. All right, we're going to play a cut from the new album, which is The Last Thing on My Mind. And I'm going to ask Joe to tell us about this, because this is a song that he wrote, and we're going to talk about Snow-Covered Grave. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this song, Joe?
That was one that I had written. It's based on a true story. As you listen to the song, it's about a mother losing a son to a car wreck. So it's a true story. The lady that we go to church with is where I picked that up from, And so yeah, I started writing about it, and this was the product that came out of it, and I believe it it really touches many more people too, because I believe there's several people that can relate to this song.
And that's one thing I like about country music. The songs are true to life, and a lot of times the songs do have a way of touching people because they've experienced the same thing that they're hearing in the music. So I think that's what makes it so popular.
Absolutely.
All right. So here we go. This is Joseph Hott and the Short Mountain Boys, and this is Snow Covered Grave.
Driving down the highway on a cold November day, the sun not in sight, and the snow began to lay. There's much to do before the family stay. Oh, how I wish the snow hadn't come today. Now we stand over snow-covered grave, saying farewell to one we love so dear. Oh, how he loved the fallen snow. Heartbroken mother cries over his grave. A part of her soul died that day. As we walk away, she stands there all alone, wishing that he wasn't out in the snow. Now we stand over a snow-covered grave, saying farewell to one we love so dear. Oh, how he loved the fallen snow. Well, the snow is coming down, and he couldn't see around the turn. Now we stand over a snow-covered grave, saying farewell to one we love so dear. Oh, how he loved the fallen snow. Oh, how he loved the fallen snow.
All right, there is Joe Hott and the Short Mountain Boys, and Joe, of course, is on the lead vocal, and again, that's a song he wrote. And Joe, I forgot to talk about this. We were going to talk about your writing, and I asked this before, but how long have you been writing? When did you write your first song?
I wrote my first one when I was about 14, entitled "Riding the Rails." which is also on that same project that had just played. So yeah, the singing and playing and songwriting kind of came together all at one time.
Do you find it easy to write, or is it a struggle sometimes? I mean, because sometimes songwriters can just get an idea and they just it comes right out.
Yeah, it kind of depends. There's some days I can sit down and have one finished in about 15, 20 minutes, and then there's other days where it goes on for weeks and maybe even months at a time until you finish up one.
Right. Now, do you usually get inspiration from other places, or you just sit and say, "I'm going to write a song about this"?
Usually, I have to have some kind of an experience
Okay.
or to hear or learn of a story or just some kind of inspiration that kind of hits.
Okay.
To sit down and try to drum up something doesn't really seem to work with me as well as it does others.
Right. Okay. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not a songwriter, but I mean, I have written a couple of things, and like I said, it's easier for me to do the same thing. I need something that's real and something that I can draw from. I usually can't come up with just an idea and say, "Oh, I'm going to write this." It doesn't work that way. At least my mind doesn't
Yeah, I'm
work
the
that way.
same. I'm the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the band because you're not the only one up there. It's not Joe Hott. It's Joe Hott and the Short Mountain Boys. And we started out as a three-piece band, and then we expanded to a five-piece band. So I'm going to ask Joe to talk a little bit about the guys that are backing him up because they are just as important as Joe is on lead vocals. So Joe, give us a little breakdown on the band itself.
Okay, well, as you said that we did start out as a three-piece a few years ago, called the Short Mountain Brothers, and at the time, all the guys could see, Short Mountain from our houses, so it was just kind of fitting for the time being. But then about a year later, we decided to expand expand the sound. So we transferred and added a couple more guys to the lineup and became Joe Hott and the Short Mountain Boys. So now, of course, we travel between 4 and 5 people per show. Right now we have banjo, guitar, and mandolin and bass, and you'll hear Robbie Bensing on the 5-string. He's out of Maryland, and then we have the mandolin player is Taylor Baker. He's out of Virginia, and I've noticed there are a lot of people at the shows recognize him by his brother, Daly and Vincent. So he's kind of the second most popular there at the shows, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and who's the first?
Yeah, I'm not going to give him that much credit.
Okay.
The bass player is also out of West Virginia too, Joe Hott, and that kind of makes up our core lineup and sound. And we always try to add in a fiddle or something like that whenever we can to the shows. And
So nobody in the band, nobody in the band
while.
now plays the fiddle, so you have to bring somebody else in.
Yeah, right now it's kind of a part-time fill-in position right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm surprised you wouldn't have a fiddle there. I mean, a fiddle there full time. So there's not a lot of songs that you do that require a fiddle.
Well, there's not a lot of fiddle players around here, I've
Oh, okay.
learned.
Wow, that's surprising too.
Yeah, there's a ton more banjo and mandolin players. I can find
Yeah.
them pretty much anywhere, but trying to find a fiddle player is a hard task up around this area.
Well, how hard was it? How hard was it for you to find the right people to make up the band? I mean, like, how many people did you audition?
We went through, I would say about 2 people per position.
Okay.
Like I had mentioned, had friends that knew friends, so it kind of made the process a little bit easier.
Okay.
And of course, the guys that we have with us now, they're super laid back, easy to get along with, and of course, it just makes the shows and entertaining so much better that way too.
Yeah. So they all enjoy playing together and whatever. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Okay. All right, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the new album, and we're going to play the title cut now. This is a song title that's familiar to a lot of my listeners, of course. The song was also, Joe's going to talk about the song, but the song was also recorded, at least for my knowledge. Charlie Pride recorded this song, and so did Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton. And I'm sure other people have recorded it as well, but those are the ones that come to mind for me. So, Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about the recording that you have on this album, the title cut, The Last Thing on My Mind?
Well, it's of course a original Tom Paxton song. I had went down to Nashville and met with the producer of this album, Steve Thomas, and my managers, Joanne Berry and Marie Ratzman from World Class Talent, and we was all gathered there together, and I was just kind of messing around with the song, and I played it for them, and it seemed to become a favorite of all of us. We was all on the same page when selecting that song for this album. We didn't know it was going to be the title track at that point, but we thought, man, this would just be the perfect song to do for this project. It would just be amazing. So, I mean, I think it really turned out well. Like you said, there's so many artists that recorded this song. It's almost on the verge of being overdone, but the version that we did and the sound that we put on it, I think it makes it just a little bit different, a little bit unique. Yep. And of course, everybody will hear that when it's played here. But I'm very excited how that song came out, and I hope everybody else enjoys it too.
Well, I'm sure they will. So let's not wait any longer. Let's give it a listen. All right. So this is Joseph Hott and the Short Mountain Boys, and this is the title cut from.
It's a lesson too late for the learning, made of sand, made of sand. In the blink of an eye, my soul's turning in your hand, in your hand. Are you going? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. As we walk along, my thoughts are tumbling round and round, round and round. Underneath our feet, a subway's rumbling. Underground, underground. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. You've got reasons for plenty for going. This I know, this I know. For the weak weeds have been steadily growing. Please don't go, please don't go. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. You know that was the last thing on my mind.
All right, there is Joe Hott and the Short Mountain Boys, and that is the title cut from The Last Thing on My Mind. And we forgot to mention that Joe had some special help on this song, singing background vocals. So, Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about the group that helped you out on that song?
Okay, well, that was the Whites that were singing backup on there. And my managers had brought them in, and they took a listen to the album, and they decided, that they wanted to be a part of it as well, which was, a super honor to have them on this project. It was just amazing, and they did such a fantastic job. There's another song on there that they're on there as well, and they did a fabulous job on that too. So it was super exciting having them there and being a part of that. And of course, when they was in the studio, I wasn't able to be there. I was here back home, and they were sending me pictures and little video clips and everything, showing me how everything was going. And I was like, oh, I wish I could be there and be a part of this right now. But no, it was amazing having them, and I'm so grateful to have had them on this project.
Okay, so and it was all three of them, right? It was Cheryl, Sharon, and Buck.
It was just Cheryl and Shannon.
Okay, see, is it Shannon or no, not Shannon?
Or Sharon. Excuse
okay,
me, Sharon.
Yeah, okay. And those of you that aren't familiar, of course, Sharon White is married to Ricky Skaggs, and there you go. Okay, that is awesome. Okay, thanks for that little piece of information. All right, let me see where we're going now. Okay, we're gonna talk about your performing schedule. So, I mean, it's important, of course, for a band. You just can't put out the records. You have to go out and you have to, promote the music and go out and perform live. So where are you performing live, basically?
Pretty much, well, we've been very blessed to travel the country here these past couple years. We've been everywhere from, Indiana to Florida to Ohio, Kentucky, just everywhere. It's been a true blessing. As far as, upcoming and recent things, I'd like to invite everybody to tune in to the Grand Ole Opry on June the 11th. I'm going to be doing Sunday Morning Country at 2:30 p.m. And again, that's June 11th on the Grand Ole Opry. That'll be televised, and also to be live radio as well there on WSM. So I encourage everybody to tune in for that, and then we're also going to be down Nashville at the Palace there in Nashville. I believe that's June 7th, around about 7 p.m. We're going to be doing the title track. We're going to be introducing the album there that night during CMA Fest. So if anybody's in the area, please do join and tune in for that. And of course, we'll be all over during that time too. We're going to be in Fairmont, West Virginia, and other places like that during that time frame too. So if you get a chance, definitely come out and see us.
Okay. And will are you going to post any of that information online or?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be all on Facebook, Twitter, and it'll be all over on the website too. So
okay.
We'll definitely keep everybody posted.
Okay, that's great, because I'm going to keep my eye on that too, because I'm going to try to get down there myself. Okay, great. All right, we're going to go to another track from the album, and we're going to go with "Sweethearts in Heaven." Joe, what can you tell us about this song?
This one's an old Stanley tune. Carter Stanley was the writer of this one, and I was listening to it when we was going over the songs to put on the album, and I thought, man, this is just a really neat song. And of course, the producer thought so. Steve did. And when we was recording, I think personally, this is one of my most favorite songs recording, because it was just so much fun doing this one. It just has that old-time classic pop to it when you listen to it. So I was really excited. It was really fun doing that song.
Okay, that is great. All right, so here's another cut from The Last Thing on My Mind, and this is Joe Hott and the Short Mountain Boys, and this is Sweethearts in Heaven.
Love me? Are you the girl I used to know? Something's happened to you, darling, but it pleases me to know. Love is blooming like a wild rose on the hill. But when lovers part forever, where it ends no one can tell. Strolled hand in hand. When our journey here has ended and this life on earth is done, we'll be sweethearts up in heaven. For me, I know you are the one. Darling, do you really love me? Are you the girl I used to know? Something's happened to you, darling, but it pleases me to know.
There's another great song from The Last Thing on My Mind, and that was Sweethearts in Heaven. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, we're going to go back to Joe for a couple of more things. And Joe, we're going to just talk about, and we talked about this before, but I know the music takes up a lot of your time, but when you're not doing the music and you've got some downtime, what do you like to do?
I like to do a variety of things. I like to do a little bit of fishing, a little bit of, I like to play golf a little bit. Mainly, when I do have free time, I kind of like to keep the schedule kind of open and free, just to kind of sit here at home and relax a little bit and spend time with family and things. So that way, you know, you're not because with music you're kind of constantly away and working it, and you don't really have that much family time going on during that. So I try to keep it as light a schedule as I can when I do have free time, just to kind of spend with them and just kind of relax and detox from all the travels and the writing and the singing and the playing. So yeah, I keep a light schedule when I'm not doing anything.
Okay, and I know we I talked about this in the pre-interview. It's just you and mom and dad. Now, do mom and dad get to travel with you anytime to go to the shows, or how often do they get to see you perform?
They do. They typically get to make every single one that we go and do. There's very few that they have missed out on. So, of course, having them there and a part of the whole process is very great. Very great to have that kind of support.
So they've been to Florida. So they've been to Florida and Indiana. So they just travel all over.
Absolutely,
wow.
yes.
Talk about support. That's great. That is great.
Yeah, it's a family-owned and operated business, I guess you could say.
There you go. So they've got a financial interest in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the investors of this business.
Oh, okay. They're okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We're going to talk about how the people can stay in touch with you and updates and everything. So let's just go over again where they can get information on you.
Well, you can go on to Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You can go onto the website, which is under theshortmountainboys.com as of right now. I will let you know that there is a brand new website getting ready to be released here pretty soon, which I'll keep everybody up to date on that and when it's ready to be viewed and things like that. So for right now, definitely get on Facebook, definitely get on Twitter and the website that we have available. And of course, I'll keep you updated and posted on the different changes and shows and everything that's coming up in the future.
Okay, that is great. And how can we get the new music or any music that's available? Doesn't have to be the new, because I spoke to Joe and they have recorded six albums, and I think Joe said that there's like 3 of them are available. I mean, this one, the new one, and the one before, and then there's one more, the what is it, Riding the Rails. It might be a little bit difficult to get, but those are the ones that are still out there. So how can they look for it and maybe pick up some music?
We are available on all the major music outlets online. You can go to the Google Play Store, to Amazon Music, to iTunes, really whatever your favorite outlet to go to purchase and download music. We're available on that. Just go in there and type in Joe Hott or the Short Mountain Boys, and should come right up for you. Also, when you're out at shows, of course, we have merchandise available there and through the website and things like that. So there's several different ways to get a hold of it, and then, of course, if you have any trouble or anything, just shoot us an email or message, and of course, we're all happy to help you out too.
All right, that is great. Okay, I want to take this time to thank Joe Hott for joining me today on the Steel and Fiddle Show. I hope our listeners have enjoyed getting to know a little bit about you, Joe, and listening to some of your great music. I'm sure we have opened up some doors for you and maybe given some people a chance to hear the music that they might not have heard otherwise. And again, I want to thank you, and you do have an open invitation to return at any time. I would certainly enjoy having you coming back anytime. And there you go. And
all right, well, I want to thank you as well, and want to appreciate the invite and having me on your show. I really do hope to come back really soon.
Well, that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. All right, we're going to play one more song, which appears on The Last Thing on My Mind. And I do believe, Joe, we said this is a song that you wrote. So give us a little bit of information on this last song, and it's I'm Coming Back to Town.
Yeah, this is one that I wrote about a couple years ago. We recorded this on an all-original album that we had done. And this one is one, kind of, with all the traveling and things that we're doing, it was just kind of fitting to write this type of song, I'm Coming Back to Town, because that's something, you always want to do when you're out on the road. You always want to come back. So it was a fun song to write, and we redid it for on Last Thing on My Mind, so it's a brand new version that you're about to hear.
All right, this appears on the 2016 album or Riding the Rails?
This one was on our, let me think here, 2015 album,
okay.
all original West Virginia.
Oh, right, okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's give it a listen. And again, I want to thank Joe for coming on the show. And again, this is Joe Hott and the Short Mountain Boys, and I'm Coming Back to Town.
let her know that my time had run out. I'm coming back to town, and when I do, I'm coming back for you. Surprise, that look that's in your eye. I never received any of your letters in the mail. You found another and forgot all about me and the love we won't share. I'm coming back to town, and when I do, coming back for you. You said it would always be just you and me. Now I see I'm just another memory. I hope you're doing well. I hope you think of me here all alone with your cold diamond ring. I'm coming back to town, and when I do, I'm coming back for you. I'm coming back to town, and when I do, I'm coming back for you.